Chilling behind me is a 2020 Nissan GT-R. I've never really been a huge fan of the GT-R, and I know a lot of you guys are gonna hate me for saying that, but I'm gonna give the new one a chance. I personally own an NSX. I feel like that's its head competitor, and I wanna know one important thing. Is that still the king of modern JDM? We don't thank nature enough for supplying us with unlimited tripods. So nature, you the shit. Before we get into the video, I want to give a huge shout out to my buddy Billy at Elevate Rentals for just giving me this car for the day. They're the ones who gave me the GADM4 in the last review I filmed, so I literally just want to say thank you. And I'll have them linked down below if you guys want to rent anything in California or fly anywhere to rent a car. I've never really been a fan of the R35, and I really know that's going to be the most controversial thing here. Now, I will say, when Tanner bought his GT-R, I literally feel like I'm in England right now. Like, the size of these roads are non-existent. This is a terribly small road. That was so England to me. When Tanner bought his GT-R back in, I'm gonna guess 2016, 2017, it was crazy. At the time, I hadn't really been exposed to cars. It was more up to date at the time. Now I feel like the old gen R35 kind of just fell out of the times. It's not in my mind how the first gen R8 is, where it's a timeless car. You look at it, it looked like it could have been released in the past 5-8-ish years. Interiors put together. The build quality of the R8 was great. The build quality of the first gen R35 was in my opinion. Now, keep in mind it is a JDM car, so take that with a grain of salt. I've just never really been a big fan of it. I've driven them modded, I've driven them stock, and I just don't like them, and I'm sorry. They feel like a video game to me. Everything's too automated. It's all-wheel drive. You get in it, it goes really fast in a straight line. That's really all it's good for. Sure, you take it on a canyon, it'll take every turn, but like with zero personality. And then over the years, I just really started to just not like the looks of them. Like when I see them on the road, sure, I'm a car guy, I get excited. There's just something about the car, especially in comparison to the NSX I owned, which I felt like was what the GT-R was supposed to be. It felt like a personality-filled GT-R. A twin-turbo V6, yes, mine was hybrid, with that good JDM flair you used to get in the old cars, with all modern technology and materials and such. And yes, the NSX interior is not the greatest thing in the world. I'm not here to say it is. It's not bad. The GT-R interior, even this new gen interior, is pretty bad. It's definitely a big step up, but it's still bad. Now, I don't want to bore you guys on the specifications of this car, and to be honest, I don't even think I know them all. I didn't do my research on this car because I didn't have service, and now we're driving, so we're just going for it. I'm gonna assume it's the same twin-turbo V6 you find in the previous gen R35. Maybe it's up-tuned a little bit, I'm not sure. Now I'm gonna guess everything else has been tweaked and tuned, suspension, chassis, everything like that. The car is definitely a fresh canvas, and it feels a lot different. Horsepower is probably gonna sit around 500 horsepower, that's my guess. Throwing those out there, if they're off, who cares? It really doesn't matter. I'm not a GT-R fanboy, so I wouldn't know those things. I've been driving this car around all morning. One major issue that blows my mind that this is a 2020 car, the transmission's pretty bad. It's not good. First gear to second gear is disgusting. I'm really not trying to be harsh on this car because I know it's everyone's favorite car, and I know this is gonna contradict everything I just said, but as much as I hate the R35 GT-R, I still appreciate them. I still love the entire GT-R lineup. The R34 is one of my favorite cars in the world. I can even appreciate an R32 when I see one. Actually, I love the R32. I really want to like this car. The thing about this car that I'm well aware of, it's a tuner car, right? I'm sure if I got behind an Alpha Kit facelifted R35, I'd have the time of my life. This is stock, and the first thing I noticed was the transmission. Second thing, the new gen doesn't sound as much like a GT-R. Maybe it's from inside, but it just does. Oh, damn, am I going too slow for you there, buddy? I'm going too slow in a GT-R. It just doesn't sound very good. It burbles a little on downshift, which is very un-GT-R like. Let's see if we can hear it. not sure if you can hear. It's cool, but it just doesn't sound like that throaty special GT-R note. Maybe it just needs an exhaust. I don't know. But I will say the first gen sounded better than this. Is that kind of normal for today's cars? Sure. This is a 2020, so I'm sure there's all a bunch of emissions that are holding it back. We don't live in Europe, so most of our cars should still sound pretty good. No offense, Europe. I'm gonna give some credit where it's due because I know a lot of you fanboys are really bummed right now because I've just been trashing on this car. Keep in mind, I've been trashing on the R35, not this car. I haven't really gotten into my opinions on this car. The only thing I did start by saying is the transmission sucks. Also, I haven't really driven this car hard. I literally was just driving it around to get a feel for it. Here's a little turn. We'll take this turn. The good thing about the GT-R is it's literally a video game that will never break traction. So as fast as you go, it just goes, which is obviously good. I like that. That's what you want out of an all-wheel drive car. It just does it with no personality, but this car is really fast. For all you GT-R fanboys, I'm gonna say some good things about this car. It looks really good. I think the facelift did a really good job of modernizing the car. The car before, looking at them now, they did not age well. The first gen R35 has like a plastic insert at the grille made of that weird material that I'm sure you guys have all seen. The interior is horrendous. It is what it is. It didn't age like the other cars will, and maybe over time it will. I'm not saying it won't. This car, I think, was a good refresh. And I think the interior was also a good refresh only because they really didn't have something tough to beat. The last interior was so bad that really anything was gonna make this better. Is it still good? I don't know. These seats look like some aftermarket Recaros you threw in that look worse than what you find in like a GT350 or GT500 Mustang. Ton of plastic, but they did do a lot of leather. Is the leather high quality? Steering wheel? No. Everything else? Sort of. But again, this is a Japanese car. I don't know if that was the goal of this car. If it was, they did a really good job. Another thing, this car is stupid fast. Disgustingly fast. One thing I'm a little impressed with traction on, this breaks a little bit of traction in first gear, which is extremely unlike the previous GT-R stock. God bless me. So that adds a little bit of character. If you want a car for daily use and you want a supercar, sports car, supercar, whatever, this is definitely a good option. But like I said, you're not gonna get a lot of personality out of it. This is absurd how fast it comes out of the gate, and that's one thing that I feel like you will never be able to take away from the GT-R, the R35, is how fast it is in a straight line. Another good thing, it's comfortable. The suspension's pretty good. I'm in sport, race RRR, whatever you want to call it, GT-RRR, and it's pretty supple. It's not brutal. I went over like some of the most odd things. Like, you ever seen those gates in the road? I don't know what they built it for. They built it to f up your car, but I went over in this and it wasn't that bad. Now, how does this compare to my NSX? The NSX is such a hated, underrated car. Hated for sure, underrated in my opinion. This is such a loved, that's a fact, and overrated, in my opinion, car. And I feel like they're the closest thing to competitors as a whole. They're both running twin-turbo V6s. They're both all-wheel drive. They're both JDM's flagship supercars of the time right now. And that's another thing. I'd consider the NSX much more exotic than this car. By the looks, by the driving experience, by the sound, by the transmission, and even by the interior. But also, I can't ignore the price point is pretty far off. This car's around, what, $110,000, $120,000? I think the most I've ever seen one of these is $130,000 spec'd out without anyone asking over sticker, maybe. The NSX starts at, what, I think $130,000, $140,000. I have not seen the MSRP on that car in a long time. And also, this car's now gonna have to deal with the new Type S that released that I'm sure is gonna be years better. These are my thoughts. The car felt just as fast, but it put power down more like a McLaren or a Lambo than this car does. This car almost puts power down like a tuner car. It almost feels like a highly tuned 370Z Nismo or something. And I know I'm gonna get so much hate for this video, or not. Maybe I'm just stating all the things that everyone's too scared to say it because everyone loves the GT-R. I don't know. Right now, car for car, let's disregard price altogether. I don't think this is the king of JDM. I think the GT-R as a brand is the king of JDM only because they've nailed it every iteration. They've nailed it every generation of the car. It competes with everything all the way down. The NSX really only had 2 generations. The NC1, I don't know if they call it the NC2, but whatever the previous gen original NSX is. And obviously there's different iterations of it. There's the Type R, the T, facelift and non-facelift of those cars. But that's really only 2 cars. This car has nailed it every single year and has developed such a brand for itself with the help of the Fast and Furious franchise. Do I enjoy this car now? Will you guys enjoy this car? If you ever get behind the wheel of a GT-R, if you ever buy a new gen GT-R, will you enjoy it? The answer is definitely yes. The car is fun. Another thing I want to point out on this car, the steering is so much better. It's so much lighter, so much more precise than the old car, and this car feels lighter because of it. I don't feel like I'm hauling around a boat. The old car felt pretty heavy, but yes, you will enjoy this car. I think when the market settles down and the new gen GT-R falls into like the $80,000 range, maybe even $70,000 range, which it almost was at before the market freaked out, it was a good buy. It's a really comfortable car. It's a really cool daily. Like, you can use this. There are back seats, which honestly I could probably fit in, to be honest. Definitely more roomy than like a Porsche 911 or any of the other cars that have like non-existent seats, Aston Martin. It's just a very usable car, and yeah, you get the name. This car looks really great, and you also get the one thing that I've pretty much failed to acknowledge this whole video properly is the one reason I don't actually hate these cars is because they're tuner cars. And I still think out of the box they should have been good, but you can make them so good. I've driven modified first gen GT-Rs, and even those are a ton more fun than this car. Sounds incredible, terrifyingly quick, and though you don't really get the personality, I don't think people are buying these cars to go mob the track. And I really don't think that many people are buying these cars to go mob the canyons, and if they are, it'll do them really well. You're just not gonna get the personality out of the car. I don't consider it to be a very fun car. I consider it to be a very good car. If you guys know anything about me, you know I love fun cars. I'm all about fun. If the car doesn't put a smile on my face, I really don't want to drive it. I don't care how good it is. And I'm having fun driving it because it is the new iteration, and I haven't spent time in a GT-R in a while, and it does bring back a little bit of the memories of, like I said, when Tanner bought his car, it was the coolest thing in the world. From someone who had not been in supercars often and had not experienced anyone they really knew owning supercars, it was sick. But now it is what it is. I see them everywhere. We're gonna go home. My dad is coming down for the day because it's Super Bowl. Let me know which team you guys had picked versus which team won. And then my brother's gonna come home. So we'll go cruise around with them. We're gonna go grab some coffee to finish off this video. Call it a coffee run. If there's anyone out there that wants me to drive their car, any dealership, any manufacturer that wants to put me on their press list, we going hard, baby. First of all, there's no car review without coffee. Everybody knows that. If I've ever filmed one, disregard it like I never posted it. Here's gonna be my quick summary of the GT-R. I'm gonna put everything together. I'm gonna be nice, not nice, bias, unbiased, all in one. If you want a usable supercar, consider one. For the price, you get a lot. If you want a car that is fun and makes you smile and you want to drive it like a true driver's car, I wouldn't recommend it unless you're going to build it. Unless you're going to put it on suspension, unless you're going to build the engine and do a crazy exhaust. That wouldn't be my car of choice. There's a lot of other cars in the budget that would bring you more of that. Did they do a lot over the last car? Absolutely. It's definitely a whole new car. The only thing I don't understand is that the transmission seems like it got worse, and I think it almost kills it for the car, and the engine doesn't make any noises. So in a way, the old car was more fun to drive, but that's definitely a better car. Better interior, looks better. They did a really good job refreshing it. Would I rather have any other generation of GT-R over that? Probably. Would I take an R35 over that? I mean, like, punch me in the face 4 times and run me over with the tractor, if not. You know what I mean? Ironically, it is a rental in my buddy's fleet, so it's the perfect car to rent for a day. You will not get bored of it. You'll love it. You'll drive it. Really fast in a straight line. Really usable. Really comfortable. You can bring your mom in it. You can bring your grandma in it. You can bring your dog in it. I mean, you can even road trip it. It might not be a bad road trip car, though I have seen some reviews. I think it was Supercars London who had one, and it was not. It's not my favorite car in the world. It's a good car. They did a good refresh. I'm gonna leave it at that. Am I now an R35 fan? No. We have my father in the car now, who is French, which makes for really good reactions. That was a really slow pull.
Oh my god. Once you have been in your RS3,
I know.
It's hard to beat.
I don't want to sound like an ass because I don't like being a pretentious person or a cocky person. I'm saying this for scientific purposes only. I destroyed a new gen GT-R in my RS3 the other day, and the kid driving it was so hyped. Not that I would ever race in my entire life.
Oh my god, that's hilarious. I mean, it's still a lot of fun.
It's still fun, of course.
Yeah.
We're not going to discredit the GT-R.
No, I mean, seriously.
Especially in this video, I talked a lot of crap on it, so
Oh, no.
I feel like we owe it to enjoy ourselves, you know? See right there, down low, it's pretty embarrassing. Look, this fourth gear, if I step on it, I'll pedal to the metal, okay? That was literally pedal to the metal.
This is absolutely disastrous.
No. But in first gear and in high RPMs, it's a missile. It's crazy that it breaks traction. I would have never thought. That's the cool thing. This thing actually has a lot of power. Like on the freeway, even like.